everyone. I am so glad that you've joined us again. It's been a long, long summer. And hopefully one of these days we'll be able to have you all back in here so we can have a class in person. But this is how it's going to work for now. Now, I don't know if you remember who I am, but I'm Sherry. And I have two other volunteers that are going to help me today. Basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to make 3 recipes with lots of vegetables. We're going to make easy sloppy joes, we're going to make a coleslaw, and we're going to make a green smoothie. And every single one of these have lots and lots of vegetables in it. And if you remember from different times that we've talked about it, vegetables have a lot of vitamins and minerals that are very good for your body. So hopefully you're going to like these. Don't turn up your nose until you try them. And we'll see you at another time. So first I'm going to introduce Jean Porter.
Hello, it's so good to be back. I just wish you were all out in the audience. So the first thing we're going to do is yummy sloppy joes, and we have done this before a while back. It was a recipe that was developed in 2012 by a middle schooler at an Olathe Middle School, and she sent her recipe in to Michelle Obama for a contest, and her recipe won as one of the healthy recipes. And so it's easy, lots of vegetables, just like Sherry said. So the first thing we're going to do is check to see that we have all the ingredients. We have posted online picture recipes, so you can have someone go in for you, or you can go in yourself and find the picture recipes. So the first thing that is on my list is ground beef or turkey. We're having turkey today because it's a lot leaner. And then we have coleslaw. We have celery. We have a red pepper, but it could be a green pepper, an orange pepper, a yellow pepper. It doesn't really make any difference. I had a red pepper, so we wanted the color. A zucchini, small zucchini. A tomato sauce. Use a whole can. Then brown sugar, lemon juice, vinegar. This is clear vinegar, any vinegar is fine. Worcestershire sauce, yellow mustard, and black pepper. So we've got all the ingredients that are on our recipe. So, first thing we're going to do, what's the first thing we always do? Wash hands. Get your hands wet. You only need 1 pump, then you're going to rub it around. Don't get it wet again until you have washed and rubbed between your fingers. How long? Either happy birthday or counting to 20. Then rinse it off good. Then I always shake off a little bit. It's nice to use paper towels. You want to really make sure you get them so dry, because what the paper towel is doing, the soap loosens all those germs on your hands, and the towel wipes them off. So you want to make sure your hand is not all wet. There we go. So, first thing we're going to do is get our ground turkey started. And I just am going to poke that with my scissor. And we've got our ground turkey. And we just are going to put our ground turkey. Get all your papers out. Start out by chopping it up. And I'm going to set my skillet about 275. And I'm going to start by chopping it up getting it going. It is going. Okay, what I'm going to do is, once I get it chopped up, it's gonna be cooking. But while it's cooking, I'm gonna have Stephanie come over, and she's gonna keep an eye on the turkey so that it doesn't burn while I cut up some other vegetables. Now, one of the nice things about this recipe is that as I cut up my vegetables, I can just throw them in the pot even if the turkey's not totally done yet. So the first thing it tells me to do is have some coleslaw. Now I think I'm going to wait just a little bit on that coleslaw until the turkey has cooked just a little bit. I am going to cut up some other things. Ah, I forgot. I need to wash vegetables because you can see on celery there's dirt. Now, all the vegetables have to be rinsed off. Celery, and I've already done this ahead, the celery you have to use what's called a vegetable brush. So, I have a vegetable brush, and I want to brush till all that dirt, and on the back side are all those little indentations that might have something in them. So I'm going to brush all that off with the vegetable brush. And this one has a little place that has a couple bad spots. I'm not going to put that in my sloppy joe. I will just cut it out. So since I've done this, and we're going to start with the celery. Now, on the celery, one of the nice things, you don't have to use a knife if you don't want to. You can just cut it with a pair of kitchen shears. And these kitchen shears I got at Dollar Tree for $1, and they work fine. So we just are cutting up our celery. And it calls for, when you get it down here, it gets a little big, so I'm just going to cut it lengthwise. And I'm going to cut off this thick part and throw it away. It calls for 2 of these. We're just going to put 1 in today, which is fine. They don't care. This is a nice recipe. If you don't have quite enough of something, it's okay. It'll still be really good. The next thing we're going to do is zucchini. And on the zucchini, I'm going to have to use a knife. And we need to remember what you're going to do with the knife. Remember, it's pinch and wrap, and then you're going to keep it straight, put your point down, and slide through. Now, I only have to cut off the one end, so that wasn't very much, but that's what I have to do. Then I'm going to grate it, and I want to turn my grater around as I'm grating it. Turn my zucchini around. You got to be careful when you get down to the end that you don't want to grate your fingers. And actually, I think it's a little easier to tilt it a little bit like that. I'm getting close to the end. So my feeling is when it gets to the point like this, I'm done, because I might grate my fingers. So there's that. And we just do this. Now, the turkey is all, the color is gone, it's not pink anymore. And so I think it's time we can add our coleslaw. So, now, in the recipe it says 1.5 cups. One of the things that I've also put is that's about a half a bag of coleslaw. So I am just gonna, what I call guesstimate. It doesn't have to be exact, that's what's nice. I'm just gonna kind of guess, and then I'm just gonna dump that in, about a half a bag. All right, the next thing we have are onions. Now, I usually buy frozen chopped onions just because it's easier. You can also get them at the grocery store, fresh onions that are chopped up. You could get celery, I think, is also sometimes chopped up. You can buy them, but I always know I can get frozen ones. So this says, the recipe says 1 medium onion. And this says this package is 2 medium onions. So I, again, guesstimate a half a package. And then I can just dump it in there. Now we have pepper. And you could have any color as you remember. And sometimes you will find frozen green peppers in with the onions, but they did not have it this time. So I'm going to show you how to cut a pepper. And remember, it's pinch and wrap. And this time we got to remember bear claw. Okay, you got to hold it with your bear claw. And you're going to, you can kind of see that there are little lobes here. So I'm going to cut off kind of at each lobe. Bear claw, pinch and wrap. So I'm going to cut down. And then I'm going to cut again. Usually you make about 4 cuts. Now when I get to this last cut, I'm going to cut it on its side because it gets kind of jiggly. And I'm going to cut point that way and this way. Now, I go in, I'm going to rinse off all these little seeds that get on there. The next thing I'm going to do, you always want to make sure you have your flat side down when you're cutting. Pinch and wrap, bear claw. I'm going to start by making sticks. Then I'm going to turn, pinch, wrap, bear claw. Because you can see with my bear claw, I can't cut myself. You got to keep those fingers underneath. Okay. In the recipe, it says a half a cup of chopped peppers. It's always frustrating to have a pepper left over. And in this recipe, just put the whole pepper in. Whoops. Turn it over, flat side down. Bear claw. The hardest part about the bear claw is remembering to get that thumb in. Make sure you get your thumb in so you don't hurt yourself. Okay. So we've got all our chopping out of the way, and the next thing it says for us to do is a cup of sauce, tomato sauce. We don't have to measure it because this is an 8-ounce container and a cup is 8 ounces. So we just pour that in. So it says 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. So with the brown sugar, it needs to be packed. So what I usually do is get a bunch and use the side of the bag to pack it down. So there it is, a packed brown sugar. We need 2 of those. The next thing it says is 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. So, normally when you're measuring things like this, we would do it over another dish. The nice thing about this, it really doesn't matter. So you can do it over another dish or you can just do it here. If we get a little extra in there, it's not going to hurt. But doing it over another dish keeps you from getting way too much in. Then vinegar. And actually, I am going to use this because vinegar sometimes, if you get too much, and it comes out pretty fast. So I am going to measure over this. So if I get it in, it goes in the can. One tablespoon of vinegar and 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. Now, when I make this, I really like Worcestershire sauce. So I usually measure it over and then put a couple extras, but I'm not going to do that today. And mustard, make sure you shake your mustard because mustard separates, so you want to shake it up. This one's kind of... All right. Dip in, and then you can scoop across the top like that. Now it's going to cook. It says to let it cook for 10 or 15 minutes. We'll put a cover on it. You're going to have it with whole wheat buns, have the whole grains in it, and they're much healthier for you. So we really would like you to do that. All right, our next person is Sherry. She's going to show us what we're going to do with this other half a bag of coleslaw.
Hi everyone, now we're going to make easy coleslaw. So we're going to take that half a bag and we're going to put it in our bowl and then set it aside. Then we're going to make a dressing to go with it. And I will say, I don't like coleslaw very well, but I like this one because I like the dressing. So if you don't like coleslaw, you might want to try it because it really does taste better than a lot of coleslaw. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my mayonnaise and I'm going to measure it into a half a cup. Squeeze it in there. Now if you have mayonnaise that's a little different than this, it's like in a jar, then you may have to take a spoon and put it into your half a cup. Then you're going to take it, put it into a bowl. And it takes 2 tablespoons of sugar. So I'm going to find my tablespoon. And remember, if you don't know for sure, there's always a marking on your tablespoon telling you, or your teaspoon telling you what size it is. So basically what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to take it and shake it a little bit and then add it to my mayonnaise. Probably the reason I like this is because it has a lot of sweetness to it. Then I'm going to add some lemon juice. And the lemon juice, we need 1.5 tablespoons. So I'm going to take it. And you know, I think I will measure it over something because if you spill a little bit, you may have more than what you really wanted. So 1 tablespoon. Now I don't have a half a tablespoon, so I'm just going to fill it halfway up. Then I'm going to take my vinegar, and I'm going to use 1 tablespoon of vinegar. And add it. And then I need a half a teaspoon of pepper. And usually on your pepper, you may have to, I'm going to just pour it out. It just kind of depends on what kind of container that your pepper has. And I'm going to find a half of a teaspoon, measure it out. And then I need a fourth of a teaspoon of salt. So I'm going to add it in here and add it into the mixture. Then you can either use a spoon or you can use a rubber spatula. I have a little whisk, and I'm going to whisk this together. And make sure you get all of the lumps out of it because you want it to be nice and creamy. So I think I've got all the lumps out of it. Let's see. And then you're going to take it and you're going to add it to your coleslaw. You may need a rubber spatula. I don't have a rubber spatula, but I'll just use my wire whisk. And I'm going to stir this into my coleslaw. Now, one thing that's kind of cool about this coleslaw is that you can add some other things to it that you might like. You could add, what do I have over here? I've got some raisins, so I'm going to add my raisins. I have some cranberries. Now, if you don't like all this, you can not add it. It's just up to you, whatever you want. I'm going crazy because I like all of these things. And some sunflower seeds. And then I already cut up like a fourth of an apple, but you can do it whatever you want. So you can eliminate some of these things that I've added, or if you can think of other things. Another thing that's kind of good in it is that mandarin oranges that come in the little cans. Those work really good too. So then I stir it all up, and then you have your easy coleslaw all ready to eat with your yummy sloppy joes. And once again, we have a lot of vegetables and we have fruits in here, so there's minerals and vitamins. Okay, the next one up will be Stephanie, and she's going to make a smoothie.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Metcalf, and I have really missed you guys and missed being a part of this program, so I was very excited when they asked me to do a video so that you guys can see me, but unfortunately at this point I can't see you, but you are in my mind. I'm going to be making the green smoothie today, and our ingredients for today are going to be bananas. These bananas look kind of brownish because we actually sliced a ripe banana and then put it in the freezer. And if you have more than one banana, you can separate the layers with wax paper. So this is a good idea to help you have ingredients ready for a smoothie to make them really fast in the mornings if you're running late. Then we have only 6 pineapple chunks, or 7, even though the recipe calls for 9, because again, this recipe can be very flexible with the amount that you use. Calls for 9 frozen mangoes. So what I'm going to do, there's probably maybe a half to a third of a bag. I'll show you how flexible this recipe is because I'm going to dump the whole bag. Then we need a cup of water. And then what's going to make it always bright green, no matter what fruit you add, is spinach. So we're going to open this bag of spinach, and it calls for a half a cup. But what I want to show you is how we're really going to pack this spinach in, and we're going to try to see if we can use about half the bag. Again, the measurements for this do not have to be exact. That is the fun thing about making a smoothie. It allows flexibility, and you can be somewhat of a cook, like my great grandma was, who never measured a thing. So I'm going to really pack this in here. And see, I just keep folding it over and folding it over until I really can't pack anymore like now. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to dump this in my little handy mini blender here. Any blender or food processor will work. It's just a matter of being able to hold the amount of ingredients you want to make. This is actually making 2 smoothies. So you do not have to use any certain order in which to add these ingredients. I'm going to pour in my cup of water. That will maybe help make the spinach a little soggy. Then I'm going to add my pineapple. Okay, so I'm going to put the lid on right now and kind of get this smushed down a little bit. Don't you love that word, smushed? Squeeze down a little bit so that I can add the rest of my ingredients without making a really big mess. I kind of got them pretty much chopped up in there. So now I'm going to take my spoon and add 1 layer of bananas because the other ones are underneath the wax paper, and I think 1 banana will be enough for 2 servings. And they're going to be kind of mushy as they thaw. That is totally normal, as is the color. The color in them turning brown from freezing is actually the sugar. So I'll put those in. I'm going to put my lid back on, and I'm going to run the full time. See how it's turning green and getting smoother? Hence the word smoothie. Oh, now I don't know. I don't know if all my mangoes are going to fit. So what I'm going to do is take my spoon and gradually add some and hope that, I'll start with this. I may have to pour some out. Yay! And I actually think I can put a couple more mangoes in here. I'm brave. But then I think I'll call it good. That again shows it called for 9 mangoes, and I guarantee you there's not 9 in here because they wouldn't. I'm going to unplug it. I'm going to twist this off, kind of gently raise it up, and this has a handy pour lid. So I am going to slide it back, and we'll show you what it looks like. I'm going to use my measuring cup, even though you would probably use a real cup. I'm going to show you how thick it actually is. But if you want something that's thicker, you can always add ice, and that will do it too. So I'm glad you joined me today. Thanks for having me, and I will see you guys soon.
Now, one of the things that's really great for all of these recipes is that they're high in vegetables and fruits. And all of these have a lot of nutrition to be put into your body. Your spinach is very high in iron, and it has a lot of other ones, but iron is its basic nutrient, and it's very high in fiber. Your pineapple and your mango are very high in vitamin A and vitamin D, and they're also high in fiber. Now, what's the big deal about fiber? Fiber is one of those things that you find in every fruit and vegetable that you eat, and especially those that have a peeling on it. So if you like apples, you need to eat those peelings because that's what gives you the fiber. The apple also gives you fiber, but you get even more if you eat the peeling. And what does fiber do in our body? It's like a toothbrush. Put that into your stomach, and your fiber will brush your stomach like a toothbrush would brush your teeth, and it makes your stomach healthy. You need that fiber to keep your stomach healthy. Now, I hope you enjoyed all of these recipes, and we'll be back with you next month.